Hey guys, in this video, I want to do what no YouTuber should do at all, never. And that's giving some price predictions. I'm going to do it anyway, but it's more to show you how you make them, right? Because there is a lot of content out there on YouTube that says price prediction for this. And then sometimes there is a reason why they give that price prediction, but often there isn't really even. And sometimes it's also based on something that I don't know if that's completely right. So let's get into that. This should be pretty juicy. And there will, already little disclaimer, be some prices here and there that you might feel like, dude, what you smoking? But crypto is what you smoking, right? Like crypto is like, hey, I expect this to do that, and then it does that. Like it's absolutely weird how this space can move, right? Disclaimer, no guarantees, right? No guarantees at all. Anything could happen, could all go to zero. It's crypto, but it could also go, therefore, very high because the risk is also very high. So, welcome to the FOMO Factory. If you already like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on so you don't miss on anything. Check WeX down below. By the way, newest exchange that I've been using, and I don't want to show exchanges like every YouTuber, but it's like Bybit, but you can get there in any country. And I do think it's important to notice that once we hit a real bull market, it's important to have a place where you can just deposit, withdraw, trade very quickly without having to go to verification first, because in a good bull market that can take a long time because everybody's doing that. So definitely check that out though, and you can win a Ferrari. That's pretty awesome. Now, when it comes to price predictions for certain altcoins, what some people do is they go to a certain altcoin and they be like, super, it's now 70 cents. Here it was sitting at $4. Man, this bull market, there's way more money. Could easily go to $10, right? Well, based on that, it doesn't really work because there's something called token inflation. So you always have to keep that in mind. But also, only looking at that altcoin is kind of nonsense, because an altcoin moves based on how the overall crypto market moves. So if you say that an altcoin can do 100x, then you kind of already, should expect that the overall crypto market is going to move up pretty hard, right? And if you don't expect that, then how realistic is it to expect a lot of 100x's on altcoins? Nevertheless, I also do think that we are still a little bit in the period of crypto where people set the bar too low. That's also kind of dangerous, right? We have been witnessing a downtrend now for a while in Bitcoin, nothing too crazy. For the altcoin market, it's been a little more hectic when it comes to the downtrend, especially the lower cap altcoins got wrecked really hard. So, what do people have right now? Kind of a bear market PTSD, right? They feel like, man, it's going down 80%. It can never do a 10x. I mean, 10xing from here is more likely than 10xing from here. Let's be real, right? So do not set the bar too low. It is crypto after all. And before we dive into that and you'll be like, dude, you're so unrealistic, let's get into the unrealism of crypto first. Back in 2016, something like that, I had millions of Dogecoins. You had these platforms where you can, these kind of faucets, and I just gave it away back then. Like, oh, you get 50,000 Dogecoin, you get like crazy, because it was so low, right? It was worth like absolutely nothing, 0.0000, right? Absolutely nothing. And that coin turned out to almost hit $1. That is, to me, the best example that within crypto, it's not that smart to say that something can't happen. Because if you would have told someone here that Dogecoin will one day hit $1, like you will be laughed at by everybody, right? And yet it did. Bitcoin is also a great example, coming from nothing to 100K. But hey, there's something more to Bitcoin than to Dogecoin. Another example is Cardano, right? Especially when you look at high cap altcoins and you be like, well, there's already high cap, it can never happen. Well, the last bull market, Cardano was sitting at $1 billion market cap. And the people that looked at that were like, yeah, why should I invest in Cardano? It's already $1 billion, right? Like, how much upside is there really? You didn't maybe do it 2x, but you're talking about a 20x. You're crazy, dude. Like crazy. And what did it do? It did a 93x, right? So, all in all, you don't even, by rule, need low cap coins to go up really hard, right? Even high caps can still run really hard. It's all relative. You might be like, yeah, it's already sitting at 24 billion. How I can, yeah, what's the high? What should we compare with, right? And we should not compare with previous highs. We should not compare to the mid-cycle rallies that we had. In my opinion, we should compare to what's going on in the world and with the macro and, you know, how much money there is right now in the world. And let's be honest, that's now a lot more than what it was over here, right? So let's get a little bit into the basics, like how high can crypto go realistically in general? So we know, like, hey, how much can these specific altcoins take a piece of that pie? I think that that's the most important thing to look at first. And hey, maybe this is not the best strategy, but for me, let me know down below if you feel like, well, this works really well as well. I'm curious, but I think this is a good way to look at it. So let's get into it. Now, by the way, the first thing that I do want to show you though is that the money supply, that is something that a lot of people are talking about lately, but that's not for no reason, right? If you look at the money supply right here, K-Dub is a hero. He always posts this kind of stuff, right? The money supply is suggesting that Bitcoin can get to around 160K in July, right? You might be like, nah, that can't happen. Well, you know, one, it is always following the money supply. Two, it's an 80% pump from here. And what bull market post halving year have we not seen an 80%, right? I've said like, um, it's actually kind of funny how the brain works because the human nature reaction would be like, this could never happen. While in reality, such performance actually always happens, right? So we should all stop putting the bar too low, right? But if somebody now talks about anything more than 130, people are already like, no way, no way. Yeah, Bitcoin is the living proof that the no ways always turn out to be like very, very, very wrong, right? Like even here when it was 160 bucks in August 2015, if somebody would have told you that it was sitting at 20K, you know, 2 years later, how mental would have they called you, right? Right? Even if you were saying it would go to 5K. And yet that was turned out to be way more than that. So don't set it unrealistically high, definitely not. But I do think that at this stage of the market, a lot of people, they also set it unrealistically low, right? They are used to downwards markets, maybe boring markets. They haven't been in an alt season yet, maybe. They maybe were not in the previous cycle. So then you actually have no idea how crazy it is and what actually happens, right? But you have to believe, otherwise you will not be there, right? And you can only get that rally if a lot of people don't believe first. Here it was like it's over, right? It's always over, and then the rally happens. Of course, we need that, right? Low liquidity, people leave, then the rally can happen. So enough disclaimer about the unrealism being very realistic. Now let's get into the way I like to make price predictions. And I don't make, I never talk publicly about those though. but I do make it for myself to feel like, yeah, you know, if that's where the price could go, then I know that I should not already be selling a lot down there, right? It helps me getting into my personal exit plan together. The way I like to do it is first look at the total crypto market, right? Because there is a certain amount of money in the crypto market, and that money always flows. It goes Bitcoin, high caps, low caps, and it flows all around. And in the meantime, it goes from hype to hype, what we had with AI, what we had with meme coins, what we had with whatever's next, right? But there is already money. In fact, at the moment, there is $3 trillion in the crypto market. Now, an example of a coin that was around in this market right here. And again, let's take Super, by the way. It should have been around pretty close to there. Yeah. As you can see, Super, it actually went to like more than $4, right? Like what we saw. But this doesn't take it all the way back. But here, there was the same amount of money in the crypto market, right? That so far we are sitting at that level. But Super was sitting at around $4, while it's now sitting at 70 cents. Right. So that already does show like, hey, the money that's here or is not here, that's not the problem. The money is there, right? The money is there to already at least make those coins go back to these highs, right? And I know there are more coins right now. There are not that many more coins that are not rugged or that, right? So that's not that big of a deal. So the money being in the market in the first place is not a problem, right? We have a very actually bad macro still for risk assets, right? There's still QT going on. And yet the market is already at the 2021 highs and already went above it. So you can imagine that it will take almost nothing to make this go up a lot more, right? I mean, there are people that have money. There are money printers, right? That's what the dollar is. Like it gets inflated with 40% over 20 years or whatever. Maybe I'm talking shit, but something like that, right? So eventually you cannot, like, there will be more money. That's a guarantee, right? That's a given, right? So this eventually will go up if crypto doesn't die in general, but I won't know why that would happen actually. So this will be more. And then it's purely a matter of money flow. Where's the money going? Right now, then we can talk about alt season again. I don't want to do that in that video. I did that in one of the latest videos. But eventually, people will take their profits from Bitcoin, from stables, from high caps, and they put it into the lower caps, and that's where you get your alt season. And it takes barely anything from the Bitcoin market cap to put it into a certain low cap to make it do a 5x or whatever, right? Like that's like these low caps are nothing. And I can show you how nothing they actually are, and therefore how hard they can pump. Again, if you look at TradingView, according to TradingView, the total crypto market is total is everything, right? Total crypto market, Bitcoin, altcoins, stables. That's all we have, right? That's everything. It's $2.96 trillion. But if you look on Google, the definition of total, according to TradingView, is everything within the top 125. Right? So these are the top 125 coins that make up for 2.96 trillion. Okay. Now, the interesting thing is, though, that if you look at CoinMarketCap, which has listed over 14 million cryptos, so basically everything, if you add all of the rest to it, then the total crypto market is 3.01 trillion. What you'll notice is that everything outside of the top 125 is compared to what's in it, so extremely low cap that's that small difference between 3.01 and 2.96. That's nothing, right? That's like, I don't know, man. It's 500 billion maybe. Like, that's it. And that's a lot, but, compared again to, or 550 billion, sorry. But therefore, it maybe put a little in perspective like, man, it doesn't take shit to pump low caps. And therefore, 50x's are actually so easy once you are in the right climate and the right circumstances for those coins to do that, right? It's very easy. It can be manipulated like easy, right? And I'm even talking about, when I say low caps, I don't even talk about the $5 million market cap coins. I mean just page 2 on coin market cap, right? Like just this shit right here. Turbo, Popcat, Ronin, Grass, AI16Z, still there, I guess. Layer Zero, mine. Like these are all 200 million, 300 million, but it's nothing, right? So, with that being said, I just want to put it a little in perspective before I get to it. And I know some people say you're rattling, etc. I do think it's important to understand this. Otherwise, we get these comments like it's not possible. So, how do I make my price predictions? Well, on the first look, like, hey, where could the market go? And there's not one chart that shows you, I know that, but there's one chart that's pretty helpful. And that's the crypto market and their fair value. Now, in the bear market, this doesn't work, right? Like you may be like, whatever, but we are not in a bear market right now. The macro is getting better. Everything is looking better. All the charts are looking fine. So, that said, let's take a look at this. And I showed this before, but not compared with price predictions. In every bull market so far, all 4 of them, the total crypto market went way above the fair value. Not a little, way, right? Here it went to the upper band. Here it went to the upper band. Here it went to the upper band. First cycle, we did not go to the upper band, but still way above it, right? And here we are even below it right now. Is this time different? I don't know, man. Here in May 2017, we just broke out of it, right? It's now May 2025, right? Also post-halving year. Doesn't mean it's different, right? It's just a little longer than the bull market before, and so far the same as the bull market before that, right? So fine. But way, 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 way above it. Right now, I made a video not so long ago about ChatGPT helping me with this information, but it turns out that if we look at the amount of X's we went above here, the amount of X's we went above here, here, and here, then the amount, if you keep on doing that calculation, then, and you take the average, considering the brain fart, considering how diminishing it is, then we should be around 3x above the fair value this time. Right? And is that really weird? I mean, look, for example, here we went 12x above it, right? Here we went like, I don't know, 24x. So 3x above it would be actually, in my opinion, unrealistic to say that we don't go above it, because so far it shows that we always do. So why bet against that, right? So 3x above it. Cool. Let's say the cycle also ends somewhat around the end of 2025, right? And 2013, 17, 21, 25. The fair value by the end of 2025 is sitting at, let's round it up, 5 trillion, right? If we go 3x above it, again, which is very diminishing, and a pretty bear case scenario, actually, then the total market could go to $15 trillion, right? So far, so good, right? So nothing crazy, nothing bearish, nothing just average, right? 15 trillion. What you can do, and I did this for Cardano actually lately. I looked at Cardano dominance. So if you open your trading view, you can fill in a coin, in this case ADA.D, then you get the ADA dominance, right? How much is Cardano dominating compared to the rest of the market? So everything in the market, right? Now we have that 15 trillion in mind for the end of the year, right? Again, not a guarantee, not a, but the average. Look what Cardano does, right? What it does is in the bull markets, it gets to the top, and in the bear market, it gets to the bottom. In the bull market, it gets to the top. In the bear market, it gets to the bottom. Also funny how it moves, right? How freaking similar this looks. Peak, down, couple bounces, somewhat of a what looks like a breakout, but actually isn't. Eventual low, lot of accumulation. Same here, right? Couple bounces, new peak, final breakout, a lot of accumulation, big pump, retrace, final accumulation, alt season. Right? You can say like, oh, alt season is never going to happen. You could do that, but only based on this chart, it's like, wow, it's repeating every fucking move. Like we only need the last move. Is it that unlikely that that's going to happen? I don't know. This time our differenders are always the ones that are getting wrecked. All right, just keep that in mind. But anyway, just notice that the chart is like a freaking copy from last cycle. But in the bull market, it got to the peaks. So let's say that this bull market, it also gets to the peak, right? So far, in my opinion at least, the most realistic case scenario based on what we see so far. Let's say end of 2025, it gets there. It's sitting at, let's round it up, 4% dominance. Right? Nothing crazy, check. But it's 4% dominance of a market cap in total of $15 trillion. Right? That's 600 billion for Cardano. 4% of 15 trillion. It's 600 billion. Let's go to Cardano. 600 billion. Cool. Market cap, right? So that there's in fact nothing to do with the token inflation, etc. Because we can just look like, hey, it's now 25 billion. 600 divided by 25 is 24x increase in market cap. That would actually, based on how we looked at it so far, be the realistic outcome. Like not a scenario where it does better than usual, but also not the scenario where it does worse than usual, just where it does like what it does unusual, and it has been doing it till the day of today, right? So the only reason, actually, and it sounds crazy, right? But the only reason to believe that Cardano from this point is not going to do a 24x is if you say, well, everything so far has been the same, but now everything is going to change. You could be right, definitely. It might, right? But is it the best bet to take? Fuck no, of course not, right? Betting against everything that has been proven so far. At a certain point, it will be different. But hey, that's what people thought last cycle as well. So 24x, right? Now, I'm not sitting here. It's now 70 cents, right? So 0.70 times 24 would mean let's round up, $16 Cardano, right? $16. You might listen to this and be like, dude, what the fuck? And it sounds crazy. It sounds even crazy saying it. But then if we look back at how we calculated it, it's like, wow, but this is actually nothing extraordinary. This would actually be like the most likely outcome according to this. Now, again, you could say like, well, 24x, man, that's fucking insane. That doesn't happen, man. But then again, let me remind you, it's crypto. And the last cycle, again, it was sitting at 1 billion and it did a freaking 100x, right? So the amount of X's is now also diminished by 4 times, right? It goes from 100x to 24x. Is that like that unrealistic? Like, I know it sounds, the outcome sounds unrealistic. But again, the math isn't, and it's freaking crypto. What is unrealistic in crypto, right? So it's not me saying that, what was it? Cardano will go to $16 and you should not sell before it hits that. But I am saying, let's not act surprised if it does, right? Because it is actually showing like, yeah, that would be just the cycle. So that's how I'm gonna do these, calculations. And again, they won't be right. That's the thing. You should realize that. You should, at the end of the cycle, not come to me and be like, well, Cardano never hit that. I'm never guaranteeing you that it will, right? I'm only showing you the way that I think is the best to make these predictions based on more than just random FIP levels or, they work though, but just really based on the amount of money that can flow in. Let's be real. Like, again, it could be that Cardano doesn't go back to that 4%, right? It could be that it hits 2 this time. And then there's your $16 Cardano. It turned into an $8 Cardano, right? It could be that the total crypto market is going to do something different, right? It could be that it only hits its fair value this time, right? Which I don't think so. But then it's 5 trillion instead of 15, right? Then Cardano could be worth 3 times less. Then it could be worth $6, give or take. But it could also be that it doesn't go 3x above it, but 5x above it, right? Could also be. Then it could be worth way more. It depends on how much money there's in crypto. You have to realize, though, that this cycle, look, the cycle itself, the basic behavior of the cycle and how it moves isn't different, right? So far, it's all kind of the same. That it all moves 1 month later or sooner or whatever, like, yeah, but then every cycle is different, of course, right? Like, nothing is exactly to the day, right? The only thing that is different narrative-wise is that crypto is no longer just driven by the OGs and the whales in the space. It's getting mainstream adopted right in front of us until presidential levels, until countries. That's fucking insane if you think about it. That's really, really, really insane. Last cycle, we only had Elon Musk talking about Doge and it completely blew up. Yeah, now it's a little more than just Elon Musk. And so you also have to understand the narrative, This chart was showing here already that it could go to 5 trillion in 2025. But we didn't know, like, yeah, what the fuck, man? It's now sitting at 5 billion. What the hell are we talking about, right? What needs to happen? What's the narrative going to be? And now that we're here, countries stepping in, ETFs, banks adopting, the president launching a meme coin, everything that you can think of. Hey, it starts to make sense while we're approaching that 5 trillion right now, does it? Right? So, I don't know. It's always been charts first and news later, right? We see the charts like, okay, it shows that this is possible. And then you get the news why it is possible. Again, this is a very hopeful video. No, it's a very optimistic video. And I know some people don't really like that because we are still very far from that. But I do think, in all honesty, even if you are a little bearish on this, setting the bar too low could also cause damage, right? Well, do you really think, like, how do you think it went last cycle? People here thought, oh, Bitcoin can go to maybe 15K this time, but that will be best case scenario, right? And they went here and then they felt like, I'm already selling, right? Like I'm smart. And then start going up, 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 up. People were like, okay, fuck, let me buy back. This is going crazier than I thought. And then it went down to be like, fuck, wrong timing, getting emotional. Then they sell again and, wrecked. I can tell you this. That's exactly what's going to happen this cycle as well. Exactly, right? Of course. And that's because people, they have unrealistic goals, right? And in this stage of the market, I do think that it's unrealistic to set your goals too low, right? Again, Bitcoin to whatever the fuck I said, 160K, right? Unrealistic. I know a lot of people think that. It's a 66% move. In what post-halving year did we not have at least a 66% move? It's more unrealistic to think that it can't happen. So, again, long shit, but I don't know, man. I feel like this is so much more important than just show you some fucking random altcoins and hope for the best, right? Now we at least maybe have a little more insight on where they could go and what drives them and what the calculations are behind it and what the narratives might be for it, right? And based on all that, you can agree, you can not agree, let me know down below. It doesn't matter, that's fine. Like, give me insights, right? This is how I'm looking at it right now. I hope it's helpful. If it is, give the video a small like. Subscribe if you're new and you feel like this might be coming in handy for later or not. I just want to laugh. Also fine. Hit the bell notification if you don't want to miss out on this. Check some shit down below. I know all YouTubers say that and you'll never do it. I never do it, but I got some shit down below, bro. So see you soon.